It's March 14th, 2022. Just watching CBS this morning. And on comes another swim team reference. And as I sit here and I try to reconnect with what we did for swim team, it was more swim meet, but it was not available. I'm listening to the example on the TV. And the only time I had swim meet or swim team available was in junior high school, which was seventh or eighth grade. Once high school came, Lynn and Lou transferred me to a Catholic school, and there was no football, there was no swimming, there was no anything sports related. I don't know why. But in junior high, but there was, again, like I'm watching, they have people cheering them on, they have crowds, they have times that are important. Again, I mean, like we went from one side of the pool to the other, and there was time factored in, but it was collected by someone and didn't really make sense why they collected these things. Again, never really in a competition with anyone else but myself. And the fact that what humans collect other people's whatever's for never made sense either. So, so that's just like the difference between the experience, the human experience or the human condition I was introduced to and what they show on the television, which is completely different. There's no, I mean, in swimming, there's no sense of camaraderie. There's other lanes of people who are doing their best, and they've got some kind of whatever. But there was no, like, comparison. It was just like, did I do good enough to make whoever's collecting the numbers and with boss there giving it into, like, did I do all right? You know, that was it. And then it was like, okay, we'll get back in and do it again. All right.
A new series. It's called Kindness 101, and it is from one of the best storytellers working today, our own Steve Hartman. You may know Steve from Friday nights and Sunday mornings, his Emmy-winning series On the Road. He's now sharing stories out of the vault there, built around themes of kindness and character and the people who have mastered both of those qualities. Kindness 101, of course, is a good starter for discussions with kids, but we are confident that adults will learn a thing or two as well and may need to. Steve's first lesson, courage.
Good morning. This is my daughter, Meryl.
Hi.
And today we're going to be talking about how to get kids like Meryl to fail.
I did not expect that.
You thought I would say succeed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And I do want you to succeed. But before you learn how to succeed, you need to learn how to fail, which is why you need...
Courage. Yeah.
What is...
I want to know who sets up the human expectation, because holding someone captive in New York in a room with very little access to humanness is psychological and warfare torture at one level. And then to consistently set them up to fail is not acceptable. While you have people like Will Smith who are going global superstar with movies and whatnot and careers, making money, and you're doing your shit with your sports and your branding and your whatnot, while there is a coup going on, a staged coup in North America that nobody's even like awake to, as far as I'm concerned, in New York, and then it causes a lot of rage. So your whole theory of courage doesn't work in like an alphanumeric, like algebra kind of a way, because it's a staged company coup that causes nothing but rage as it ages in accounts receivable and expectations that have fallen very short of the expectations of what seasonal workers are not accomplishing, and as it comes to light what they allowed to happen in other people's arenas and other people's lives while they were just so dead set on accomplishing some other stupid fucking useless goal.
It's courage. For that, let's check in with your brother over at our dictionary desk. Emmett?
So this essentially means like being brave. You would be able to take up something completely new.
Right. Meryl, do you remember for the longest time you didn't even want to try riding a bike?
I was worried everyone would laugh at me. She was afraid that she would fall off, get injured.
Could have broke your clavicle.
What's a clavicle? Yeah, what is a clavicle?
You're gonna look that up? Okay, you look that up. We'll go on. As you guys know, I've interviewed some of the best people this country has to offer. People who can teach us pretty much everything we need to know to be a better person. So this morning, I looked in that library of stories past and found what I think is the perfect tale to teach us all how to be a little more courageous.
They were the bad news bears of swimming.
Yellow in 2 minutes.
In fact, Coach Alex Wiedemann of Seguin High School in Arlington, Texas, says
People that are allowed to go on camera, because it has a parallel to something way more important.
you can't overstate their underachievement.
Our goal every meet was to finish the race.
Just get across the pool?
Get across the pool. We measured our success on not getting disqualified.
And because that was the standard, Gerald Hodges made the team. Perhaps the only kid to ever make a high school swim team without a clue how to swim.
He couldn't get across 5 yards, let alone 25 yards.
Was there really nobody better?
No.
Come on, Gerald.
See, from this like aerial perspective looking down, the colors and this style pool was built for something. I know somebody on Long Island knows. I don't have planning and access. I mean, for us, it was just we got bus there, you get out, and it's time to swim. No idea where we were. We were kids. But it looked something like this with these big tall ceilings, and there were color flags somewhere. And I know someone has a record because they were collecting on a clipboard all sorts of important things for their boss, which we had no clue. We were just like, did we do good enough to get you, like your boss is going to be happy kind of a thing? That was like that was my biggest expectation.
Eventually, he at least learned how to not drown and even finish some races, albeit long after the other competitors were done and toweled off.
Push it, come on.
Yes, he was that bad, which is interesting. Because on dry land, Gerald is a remarkable athlete.
Could you have made the basketball team?
I think so.
Soccer team?
And at that point, one of the stupid, useless American doctors told Lynn that I had asthma and wanted me to start using an inhaler after years of allergies. And then Lynn took me for shots, allergy shots. So they've been abusing my human appearance in New York with all of their disgusting medical degree and big pharma shit. So they've been purposely trying to disfigure my body and poison me in my stay here. Progressively getting worse. I mean, there's no reason why a child should have her nose running so profusely, where she has to take allergy medicine every day just to get up, and then a breathing problem out of nowhere. There's no reason why my lungs shouldn't have worked. They should have been able to inflate just fine. There should have been no rhythm problems, and then enter a swim team with no other purpose, because there was no competition, there was no championship, there was no anything really like designed around it that I could tell. I mean, I had no idea what these words even meant. But it did force someone to keep a record of and monitor my health in that moment as a seventh grader. And here I am at 43 and in even worse shape. But it goes from that seventh grade where they started playing those games of these mispronounced, like almost pseudo diseases that you can't confirm. You're like, no, I do sometimes have trouble breathing, but again, the doctor called it asthma. They said I needed an inhaler. But I mean, they're supposed to be the authority, but they're abusing their privilege by giving perfectly healthy individuals medicine they don't need and diagnosis that they don't need. So how does that work in the big scheme of doing the right thing as a human? Because I really don't see too many of them doing anything correctly.
Pretty positive.
So why swimming?
I felt like if I couldn't handle not being good at something, then how could I consider myself, a successful person?
That quote bears repeating. If I couldn't handle not
And what I also don't understand is how they can justify in a malpractice suit with bankruptcy court level of importance somebody somewhere. The fact of giving shots to a child, why wouldn't you just take one vial of blood and test the allergy factor in a laboratory on a microscope? Why would you need to inject a child, not just once, but several times, to see if there was any inflammatory response underneath the skin? What kind of sick, twisted, disgusting professional allows this kind of stuff on their own people? Somewhere, aren't you supposed to be protecting the kids that have already been subjected to genocide for several generations to try to protect them from harm? I mean, are there any of those people anywhere in the world anymore? Because it looks like they just want to come up with new ideas to harm people, from my perspective, and what I've witnessed and what I've been subjected to. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole, Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. Then I go from that moment of remembrance of my own whatever journey, I suppose, in this human condition, to this setting in the restaurant. It says how one Afghan family is trying to set an example for their community. And they have this picture of nobody knows who. And then they have this picture of nobody knows who. They have this of I don't know what the hell these are.
And for all those other girls needing to hear, you can do it. Jan Crawford, CBS.
And then I look at this over here, and nobody has any clue what this is. And then I look over here, and again, looks like a horse race, but nobody knows what this is symbolic of.
Yes, Mornings, McLean, Virginia.
And that's from Virginia. Now, here's the other thing. It used to be back in the day, you had generational enlightenment, wealth, and protection. You were taught to cook a certain way. You had certain shapes. You had certain dishes. It was your tribal or your protection to lean back on in large communication, whatever, and protection. Now, in this disgusting version of New York and the United States of America and North America, they send people to culinary school, and then there's people learning other people's kitchen secrets, and it's causing a real problem because here they have circles. Are they allowed to cook with circles? Is that like their thing? I don't know. Is that going to infringe or encroach on somebody else's protection and safety in the kitchen of I mean, I had my grandfather, my grandmother wasn't here from northern Italy to teach me anything. She died when I was 2. So I didn't even get that. I got cut short out of kitchen work with her. So I don't have like a ravioli shape. Again, New York's just been a really shitty place to exist.
Attribute their success to the customers and the recipes that span generations from one mother to the next.
I mean, I learned this from my mother, so that's how she made it, that's how I made it, and that's how I'm teaching others to make it.
And now,
Yeah, see, we've been robbed of this familial and family, like, love of one another. This does not exist in New York for what we've been subjected to. It's *1978, *8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. And I do remember that when I decided to join, first it was just Links Realty in Rockville Center with Rich McQuillan. Then it eventually became Exit Links. I think I came on when it was officially Exit Links. He had a whole bunch of different I was just a sales agent at that point. Or salesperson, whatever. He had different meetings, functions, and business, whatever that he needed to for the office. Different speakers that came in. There was meetings, but in large group setting. I remember there was one which was a little confusing because I got pointed out for something, but I was confused as to why. It was a reverse mortgage specialist. But again, there was words spoken or letters used, and it was confusing for me. But Rich had a nice tribal, familial, like the last white people I've ever gathered with. And then it just disappeared. I don't know why. As so many things do on Long Island. It's like you get something right and it's going in the right direction, and then something gets yanked and it's like all the white people disappear again. It's like swimming in an ocean, finding a school of fish, and you're like, oh, I fit into that school of fish. And then all of a sudden, the shark with the big teeth come along, and all of a sudden you're the only one there again. You're like, really? This again? Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361.